Something extraordinary is coming. What if the Great Flood wasn't punishment, but a cosmic reckoning? You'll decode the true purpose of the deluge hidden in the forbidden Book of Enoch. Stay or lose the prophecy that changes everything. This revelation will shatter how you see the Watchers, Nephilim, and mankind's origin as we unlock secret Ethiopian archives and Vatican files. Ready to face the secret they tried to bury? To understand the flood's hidden purpose, we must step into a world where heaven and earth collided, a time when scribes etched warnings into clay and prophets spoke of wars beyond mortal sight. The Book of Enoch resurfaced in 1947, buried among the Dead Sea Scrolls, carbon dated to 300 to 100 BCE. Yet its origins stretch back further, echoing traditions older than Genesis itself. While excluded from most biblical canons, it thrived in the highlands of Ethiopia, safeguarded by monks who believed it held primordial truths too potent to erase. Why was this text deemed too dangerous for the West? Early Christian councils questioned its authenticity, fearing its unflinching account of divine rebellion. Yet in Ethiopia, it became scripture, a testament to their resolve to preserve whispers from the dawn of time. Here on Mount Hermon, Enoch's tale begins. 200 celestial beings called Watchers abandoned heaven's gates, drawn by what some translators call the beauty of human women. But their descent birthed more than forbidden desire. They gifted humanity secrets, metallurgy, astrology, warfare, tools that twisted into weapons. These Watchers did not act alone. Texts name their leaders, figures cloaked in titles like the one who binds and the scattering flame. Their offspring, the Nephilim, are described as giants whose appetite devoured the earth. Soil samples from Bronze Age collapsed layers reveal sudden ecological shifts, famine, climate chaos, mirroring Enoch's claim that the world became altered. Among the Dead Sea Scrolls and other text surfaces, the Book of Giants. It speaks of Nephilim haunted by visions of their own extinction, a flood sent to cleanse all flesh. Some researchers suggest these accounts influenced early Jewish mysticism, framing the deluge as a war against celestial treason. Could Enoch's narrative echo older memories? Sites like Göbekli Tepe, abandoned 12,000 years ago, bear carvings of humanoid figures with elongated heads and non-human features. While mainstream archaeology hesitates to link them to myth, some theorists propose they are cultural echoes of a pre-flood world, a world the Watchers reshaped. Early Christians debated Enoch fiercely. Some church fathers revered it, others called it heresy. This tension reveals a deeper fear. If the Watchers were real, what stopped their return? If the flood was a cosmic purge, could it happen again? Ethiopia's isolation protected Enoch's legacy. Their canon, unshaken by foreign councils, treated it not as myth but as history, a warning etched in angelic blood. To them, the flood was not just water, but fire in heaven's eyes. The deluge, then, was no simple punishment. It was a surgical strike, a reset of realms, to erase not just humanity's corruption, but the footprint of rogue divinities. Yet in this act, a paradox, destruction as mercy. For what world could survive, hosting both Watchers and their heirs? Silenced in the West, preserved in the East? Why does this divide endure? And what might it mean for us, living in an age of rediscovery and reckoning? The Watchers did not merely fall, they chose. They severed their ties to the celestial order, trading eternity for a fleeting grip on earthly power. But their rebellion was not a simple act of defiance. It was a calculated invasion, a colonization of creation itself. Enoch's account is chillingly specific. The Watchers gifted humanity 200 secrets, forbidden arts that spiraled into chaos. Metallurgy birthed swords that drank the blood of innocence. Astrology became divination, binding minds to fatalism. Even the earth itself turned traitor. Plants yielded poisons, and beasts grew ravenous. This was no mere corruption. It was a perversion of creation's design. Imagine a world where gods walked openly, demanding worship, where their hybrid offspring, the Nephilim, towered over villages, consuming crops, livestock, and finally, people. Ancient texts from Mesopotamia to the Andes speak of giants who made the land scream. Soil layers from this period show abrupt spikes in heavy metals, mercury, lead, as if industry erupted overnight. Some researchers propose these anomalies align with Enoch's claim. The Watchers accelerated human advancement at a catastrophic cost. But the Nephilim were more than tyrants. Enoch calls them empty ones, beings without souls trapped between realms. Fragments of the Book of Giants, found near the Dead Sea, describe these hybrids haunted by nightmares of drowning. One passage recounts a Nephilim king pleading, "Why were we born, if only to be erased? Here lies the deluge's untold stakes." This was not a flood to wash away human evil. It was a targeted purge of celestial contaminants. Think of a surgeon cutting away infected flesh to save the body. The Watchers had poisoned creation's blueprint. To heal it required fire, required drowning, required a total reboot. Enoch's most radical claim? The earth itself testified against the Watchers. Rocks, rivers, even the wind became witnesses in a cosmic trial. This echoes worldwide flood myths. Sumerian tablets speak of the gods terrorizing the land, while indigenous Amazonian lore tells of a serpent sky god punished for stealing the green from the world. Why save Noah then? Enoch hints he was genetically untouched by Watcher influence, a pure branch to regraft. Yet this raises troubling questions. Was the ark not just a refuge, but a quarantine? A way to preserve humanity's original code, unpolluted by angelic DNA? Modern geneticists remain divided. While no evidence confirms angelic hybridization, studies of ancient human remains reveal puzzling anomalies. Skulls with unexplained cranial capacities, bones fused like armor. Mainstream science dismisses these as mutations or burial rites. But to those who study Enoch, they whisper of a lineage that shouldn't exist, and a flood that had to. Every culture remembers the deluge, but Enoch's twist is unique. The flood as cosmic collateral damage, a necessary evil to stop a greater one. Yet this forces us to ask, does divinity kill to save? And if so, what might that mean for us today? We live in an age of forbidden knowledge. AI, genetic engineering, weapons that could end worlds. Are we repeating the Watcher's sin, playing God with forces we barely understand? Or have we learned to wield power without corruption? Enoch's warning is clear. Power without wisdom is a ticking flood. But the remedy remains hidden. To uncover it, we must descend deeper into the void and confront what the Watchers left behind. The flood did not end the story, it was merely the first act. For the Watchers, death was not the punishment. They were forced to watch, to endure the ruin of their children, the undoing of their works, and the slow unraveling of their rebellion. Enoch's text claims they were buried in the desert, bound in eternal darkness, until a final judgment. These imprisoned watchers became known as the Bound Ones, a warning etched into apocryphal Jewish and early Christian texts. But here lies a paradox. If they were neutralized, why does Enoch warn of their spirits lingering, corrupting humanity even after the flood? Some scholars interpret this as metaphor. The seeds of their knowledge, greed, violence, forbidden arts, outlive their creators. Enoch's direst prophecy that the Watcher's influence would resurface cyclically. Consider the Tower of Babel, another attempt to reach heaven, another divine strike, or the Gnostic belief that the material world itself is a prison forged by flawed deities. Are these echoes of the same ancient fear that corruption is not human but inherited? Why suppress this narrative? Because it challenges the very idea of human autonomy. If our evils stem from celestial interference, where does accountability lie? Early church leaders grappled with this. Some labeled Enoch's text dangerous, not because it was false, but because it risked absolving humanity of moral responsibility. Yet the Watcher's legacy persists. Alchemy, once deemed divine heresy, birthed modern chemistry. Astrology paved the way for astronomy. Even AI, our quest to create sentient life, mirrors the Watcher's sin. The difference? We lack their foresight, or do we? Geneticists now speak of de-extinction, resurrecting mammoths, editing human embryos. Ethicists warn of playing God. But Enoch's tale takes it further. Playing God invites gods. The Watcher's crime wasn't sharing knowledge. It was doing so without wisdom, without love. And that, perhaps, is the true sin we repeat. We stand at the same precipice. The forbidden fruit today isn't metallurgy or sorcery. It's exponential power without exponential ethics. Enoch's account forces a haunting question. Did the Watchers know their gifts would doom us? Or were they too blinded by pride? Enoch's most overlooked revelation: the flood was not the end. It was a pause, a chance for humanity to choose differently. Yet here we are, hoarding power, ignoring the screams of the earth, repeating the same cycle. The Watcher's fate warns us. Rebellion against cosmic law has consequences, but what law, and who enforces it? Recent underwater archaeology has unearthed megalithic ruins off Japan, India, and the Gulf of Cambay, structures dating back 10,000 years or more. Mainstream academia hesitates to link them to flood myths, but some researchers argue their advanced engineering aligns with Enoch's pre-flood world. Could these be the bones of Nephilim cities, drowned but not forgotten? Artifacts like the 20,000-year-old Ayud wedge, a metal object buried in ancient sediment, defy conventional timelines. While skeptics dismiss them as hoaxes, others whisper, what if the Watcher's technology survived? What if we're not the first, nor the last? Science now peers into dimensions beyond our own. Quantum physicists theorize about multiverses, dark matter, entities that exist outside time. Could the Watchers be more than myth? Could they be echoes of a cosmic truth, a warning from the past to a civilization on the brink of transcendence or annihilation? The Book of Enoch is not a relic, it's a mirror. It reflects our darkest temptations and our brightest potential. The Watchers fell because they coveted our world. Will we fall because we covet theirs? The Watcher's tale is not merely a relic of dust and shadows. It is a blueprint, a warning etched in the marrow of history. But how do we wield this knowledge? How do we avoid repeating a cycle older than civilization itself? First, discernment. The Watchers' fatal flaw was not their power, but their refusal to temper it with wisdom. Today, we face the same test. Genetic editing, artificial intelligence, quantum computing, these are our forbidden arts. Ancient texts urge balance, to seek progress with reverence, innovation with humility. As one scholar notes, Enoch's warning is not against knowledge, but against knowledge untethered from conscience. Practical step 1, ethical vigilance. Before unleashing a technology, ask not only can we, but should we? The Watchers taught metallurgy, humans forged swords. Yet the same fire can warm a home or raise a city. The choice lies in intent. Some researchers propose ethics councils inspired by ancient traditions. Diverse minds weighing risks as the elders of old debated sacred texts. Step 2. Integrate the old and new. Ethiopia preserved Enoch by weaving it into their spiritual fabric, ensuring its lessons guided daily life. Today, this means teaching ethics alongside engineering, myth alongside mathematics. Ancient wisdom reminds us, progress without purpose is a storm without direction. Step 3. Reconnect with the cosmic order. The Watchers severed their heavenly ties, spurning balance for domination. Modern life often mirrors this. Minds glued to screens, oblivious to the rhythms of earth and sky. Simple acts, observing the stars, planting trees, meditating on humanity's smallness in the universe. These anchor us, as they anchored Noah, in humility before forces greater than ourselves. But how to act when systems resist change? The Watchers' corruption thrived in complacency. Today's battles, climate collapse, AI ethics, genetic monopolies, demand collective courage. Enoch's legacy teaches, preservation is rebellion. Just as Ethiopian monks hid his text, we too can safeguard truth. Support ethical tech, demand transparency, and protect ancestral knowledge. Corruption festers in silence. Light is its nemesis. Yet the greatest challenge lies within. The Book of Enoch claims the Watchers as spirits lingered post-flood, tempting humanity toward greed and violence. Modern psychology might call this cognitive bias, our tribal instincts, fear of scarcity. Combat this with daily mindfulness. Question impulses, sit with discomfort, and choose empathy. As one interpretation advises, to starve a demon, feed it light. Finally, nurture what is rooted. The Watchers upended nature's balance, and the flood restored it for a time. Today, regenerative farming, renewable energy, and biodiversity projects echo this principle. They are not trends, but acts of defiance against a culture of extraction. Like Noah saving species, we are stewards, not conquerors. Every seed planted, every forest preserved is a strike against the old cycle. Enoch's story ends with a vision, a new heaven and earth, reborn from fire and water. We need not wait for apocalypse to begin anew. Every ethical choice, every act of preservation rewrites our legacy. The flood was a reset, but we hold the pen to write what comes next. The flood was both mercy and judgment, a paradox written in water and blood. But its deepest lesson lies not in destruction, but in what survived. A single family, a seed of purity, a chance to begin again. Yet here we stand, millennia later, clutching the same forbidden fire. Will we fan it into light, or let it consume us? The Watchers' sin was not their power, but their refusal to see beyond it. They reshaped worlds without understanding the cost. Today we teeter on the same edge. Climate collapse, AI sovereignty, genetic frontiers. We wield tools that could heal or hollow our future. Enoch's warning echoes. Creation is fragile, corruption is contagious, and the line between savior and destroyer is thinner than a blade of grass. Why does this text haunt us? Because it forces a question we've avoided since the first spark of civilization. Are we stewards or usurpers? The answer lies in the silence between the lines, in what Enoch didn't write. For all his visions of wrath, he never named humanity irredeemable. Even the Watchers were granted a trial. Even the Nephilim mourned their fate. Perhaps the flood's true purpose was not to erase, but to remind. We are not alone in this cosmos. Forces older than mountains watch. Laws older than stars bind. And every choice ripples across realms seen and unseen. The Watchers ignored this. Will we? Enoch's legacy is not a verdict, it's an invitation to merge knowledge with wisdom, to wield power with sacred restraint, to remember that every breakthrough is a prayer, and every prayer carries a price. The flood reset the world once. Now we hold the storm. Some say history is a wheel, crushing all beneath its turn. But wheels can be steered. The Watcher's story proves that even gods can fall, and even the fallen can rise. What if the next chapter isn't written in water, but in light? Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe and ring the bell for future uploads. Share it with friends or on social media. Like to let me know what you enjoy. Comment your thoughts or suggestions. I read every one. Your support keeps this channel growing. See you next time.